Marvell, I had to retire because of injuries as well. Much different. But I feel so bad for people in those situations, right? Because it hits you suddenly and you don't know what's next. How difficult was that period of time in your life when you got diagnosed with a heart condition? You think you can get back on the field, and then ultimately it was a decision really out of your control that said, sorry, this is no longer an option.
It was awful, actually. I actually didn't, even though it's soccer, it's been a part of my life since I was 3. And at this point, I'd been pro for 11 years. I just signed a 2-year contract. I was ready to go, but the surgery went down really well. And then, I was recovering for about 6 months, and then MLS just, stopped paying me. And they're like, well, you're not playing, so, there's no need to pay you anymore. And I said, well, you were going to wait for my recovery. You said, like, there was always going to be a 9-month recovery, so this is part of the plan. I'm doing part of the plan. So then I go to my cardiologist, my surgeon. They say, nope, you're fine to go. Talk to their doctor, talk to MLS's doctor. So he's a little worried about where the artificial material and the organic tissue meet. There's a little bit of swelling. We're not sure. They take my case to a panel at Mayo Clinic in front of 6 cardiologists. And they're like, is this 30-year-old African-American male at or less than a risk of an average soccer player? And they unanimously said no. And that got to me, in October. And what was surprising to me was actually how much I thought about soccer without playing. So when I would go to bed at night, I would think about my practice before, what I can improve on, what I'm going to do the next day. And this was the first time, again, since I was like 3 years old, that there was no future that involved soccer. So when I would go to bed at night, it just was just darkness. And then I'd actually wake up with panic attacks, heart racing, sometimes tearing, just sweating bullets. And it would take you about 30 to 45 minutes just to get my heart rate down and just hope I could fall back asleep. And that happened for about 4 months or so. Then eventually things got resolved. Ended up working with San Jose for 2 years, kind of like a media guy, being out on the field before games, halftime, doing a couple podcasts. So things ended up working out for me in the end.
Thank you for sharing that. In bringing us into that part of your life, because no matter when you retire, how you retire, it's a difficult time. But in particular, like that, I cannot imagine, Marvell. I can't imagine it's just someone else telling you that this was not going to be your life anymore. So, and it was a hard time, right? What do you feel like helped you get out of that and into kind of where you are now? Was it a longer process? Because it feels like you have embraced like the freedom that comes with not being a professional athlete anymore. But it's not like you can just flip that switch, because you can't. What do you think that process was like?
Well, it was a long process. I mean, that Christmas was one of the ones, like, I didn't even go home in San Diego, be time with my family. I just wanted to be alone. It was one of those. It was lonely, but as I started to talk to MLS a little bit more, talk to San Jose, it was the feeling of, again, the remnants of the teams that I had played with still wanting me around. So they're like, we want to keep you here. The fans like you, the players like you. So please come into the locker room every day. We want to get you out on the field, talking to the fans. We want to get you joining us and helping out, because I believe now there's just a lot of, I'm getting better at doing things for myself, but I'm not used to it. I've always been like a team person. So if I'm doing things on my own, it just feels selfish, or it feels like it could be done in a better way or for somebody else, this is actually more fulfilling. When I go and travel and I do things, if I do it with somebody else, I like to enjoy those experiences with somebody else. So I realized that only when I didn't have a team anymore. So then I was like, all right, now I have to go find a way to give back and to feel some kind of helping of others, instead of just, kind of being solo and just worrying about me.